Hello, I'm Dylan.
And I'm Kiyan.
And this is Trust Your Doctor, that podcast where our heads are twice the size of our bodies. Because this week we watched The Horns of Nimon.
Written by Anthony Reed, interestingly enough.
Directed by Kenny McBain.
And aired in December of 1979 and January 1980. Finally!
We're in the final decade of classic Who. Unless you count the TV movie, I guess. But yes, we're in the 80s now. How does it feel?
No different than the 70s. Pretty disappointing, really. No, I've been hyping it up like I was super excited for it, but obviously it's not a big deal.
I mean, probably because it's still the same season that was in 79.
Same doctor, same companion, same canine voice for 2 more serials.
I mean, 1 more if you discount this one since we've already watched this one.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. So, yeah, this originally was the season finale because Shia never got aired, but if you haven't been listening, we're watching Shia next week, so we're not doing a season retrospective till next week.
Right.
So, I guess we'll just jump right into it?
Yes.
It begins
in a janky-looking control room, which they actually mention is janky. You know, the pilot and the co-pilot are like, all our machines or all our equipment is super old. Nothing works. We're gonna break down before we get to where we need to go. And then the pilot's like, yeah, let's just push everything into overdrive. That'll probably work.
That'll fix it.
What could possibly go wrong? As the doctor says in a minute.
Oh, yeah. Well,
and everything goes horribly wrong. They get pushed off course, and they enter the gravitational field of a black hole.
Yeah. That's bad.
Yeah, things went completely wrong.
So cut to the doctor and the TARDIS, and for some reason he's decided now is a good time to put the TARDIS through its prerequisite TARDIS maintenance period. So he's currently disassembling the console.
Right. According to the manual, he has to disassemble everything that needs to be disassembled and leave everything that doesn't need to be disassembled. He's like, that helps.
And then he's like, what could possibly go wrong? And then everything shakes, and he's like, wow, it's like every time I say that, something goes wrong. I guess sort of a miniature break the fourth wall moment. But Romana's...
Well, not necessarily, but maybe.
I mean, kind of.
You could say, I mean, that could be a real-life occurrence, you know. Every time I say things, what could possibly go wrong, things go wrong.
Yeah, but we already know the doctor is aware of the fourth wall, thanks to Feast of Stephen. So Romana's changing her outfit yet again.
Yeah, into a red thing.
Red frock coat.
Yeah. I was going to say trench coat, but it's not all the way there.
Enough.
It's not all the way there. It's not all the way to trench coat level.
I mean, she's got the gloves to pull it off. Like bright red leather gloves.
Still waiting for that spin-off where Romana is a detective that I've been waiting for since I watched episode 1.
Of this serial?
Yes.
I was going to say, I wasn't aware you were waiting for a Romana spin-off.
Yeah, her companion can be Alpha Centauri anyway. Yeah, so things are going wrong for them too. And the doctor messes with the controls a bit, and somehow they enter the gravitational field of what they think is the ship, but it's actually the black hole that they're next to.
Yeah, they also crash into the ship, I think. I think they get wedged on the outside of the ship.
I don't know. There's a bunch of debris around the ship and stuff, and the TARDIS is part of that, so...
It's like an underworld type thing when they went into the wormhole and all of a sudden all the rocks got attracted to the ship, even though there was that pseudo-planet right there. I don't know. But the doctor forms some sort of force field barrier walkway down to the ship.
Yeah.
Something the TARDIS can apparently do that we didn't.
Yeah, he forms the convenient plot device to get them onto the ship. So they're wandering about the ship for a bit, and they come across the cargo that the ship is carrying, which is...
People?
Well, and also Hymettusite, I think it's called, something like that, which is apparently a energy-rich element crystal type
Yeah.
of thing. And then they find the people that the ship is also carrying as cargo, as sacrifices for Nimon, who we learn about in a bit.
Right.
And the captain's dead, by the way. The pilot.
At some point here, I think it cuts to Sol Deed talking with the Nimon, or talking with his assistant, and the assistant's like, hey, the ship got lost. And Sol Deed is like, you better find that ship or the Nimon's going to be upset.
Yeah, so there's these two guys on presumably some planet talking about the ship, which was supposed to be there already, and their outfits look pretty interesting. I guess this was supposed to be based on the Greek myth of the Minotaur, sort of. So they had that, Trojan/Greek looking helmet type of thing. Looked pretty cool.
Did we really get the Minotaur in Doctor Who?
Yes.
In
Time Monster.
Time Monster, yeah.
Yep. But this was...
Space Minotaur.
Yeah.
So the Doctor and Amana wander around the ship for a bit, and the co-pilot shows up. He's like, hey, the pilot's dead. Can you help?
Except he says it at gunpoint.
I mean, yeah. And they're like, well, I guess you have a gun on us. At some point here, Romana's like, so I'm going to need a screwdriver to do this thing. And the Doctor's like, oh, here. And she's like, no, I made my own.
Yeah, she made her own sonic screwdriver.
The Doctor's like, oh.
And he tries to swap it for his own because apparently it's better than his. She calls him out on it.
I thought he said hers was more rudimentary than his.
Yeah, he was obviously just trying to get her to say, oh, you want to switch then or something like that.
Well, hers is more pointy. It doesn't have the weird ring thing at the end.
And she loses it in a bit. But
she gets it back.
Yeah, she gets it back, but she loses it for a minute.
Yeah.
The co-pilot also... just realized, actually, the co-pilot is never named.
No,
anyway.
He's just co-pilot.
Yep. The co-pilot tells them to get away from the passengers who are the sacrifices who are owners. He sacrifices someone named Nimon.
Right. So the ship is basically dead. It's got no power. The fuel cells are destroyed. The control panel's wiped. So the Doctor goes to his TARDIS and gets is it the gravimetric stabilizer?
Don't ask me. I don't know.
He pulls something out of the TARDIS.
Gravimetric stabilizer. That sounds good enough as any term they could have used.
And he installs it into their ship because... So what his plan is to cannibalize some of the hyperox... whatever. I don't even care. To power the ship. And they're going to escape the black hole using that. So the co-pilot's like, all right, let's do it. The Doctor has to go back to the TARDIS because he has to do something with the TARDIS to make sure the TARDIS comes out with the ship and doesn't get trapped in the black hole.
Yeah.
And so they enact the plan, but the co-pilot doesn't wait for the Doctor, so the Doctor gets thrown off course and episode 1 ends.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Romana and everyone else is on the ship headed to the planet, whose name we don't know yet.
We forgot to mention the part, right, when the Doctor's introduced, and he's like, what could go wrong? And the ship shakes. And then he goes to talk to K9, and K9's head is on backwards.
Oh, yeah. That was
like,
great. I can't believe we forgot to mention that.
Oh, no, K9!
He tries to give K9 CPR.
It's like, K9, this is going to hurt. He flips K9's head around, and K9's like, oh, everything's okay. Doc's like, oh, thank God.
It sounded like it hurt, though. There was like that cranking noise as he turned K9's head. Probably the prop just breaking.
Probably wasn't designed to be put on backwards.
No, I mean, I'm sure it was. Or at least it was able to be put on backwards.
I guess. Probably,
if not,
probably the prop designer foresaw this and designed it that way, but you never know.
Well, I'm guessing you just place the head part into the body part, I
don't know.
Me neither. But we can speculate as much as we want.
That's right, because we never claim to be experts.
Why are you titled... Okay. Check out Triple Play.
Smooth as butter. Smooth. Okay, so the Doctor's gonna he's gonna slam into this asteroid, I guess.
Was that supposed to be like a piece of the debris, or was that just like some rogue thing?
It's just a rogue planet.
Oh yeah, yeah, it was planet-sized, right.
It was
forgot about that.
planet-sized, but then the doctor's like, that's not a planet, it's like an asteroid. And K9's like, it is planet-sized, master. Doesn't matter, though, because the doctor just...
Yeah, I don't even know what he does to get out of this.
He does some cricket maneuver where he puts a lot of spin on the TARDIS and he spins out of the way, which wouldn't work because you're in space and there really isn't air for that maneuver to work. I mean, the reason why it works on a cricket ball is because of the air in the atmosphere.
This is what you're questioning in this serial?
Yes, because it didn't make sense even if the spinning worked, and he just didn't explain it. But he was like, oh yeah, I just did a cricket maneuver. I just put a lot of spin on the TARDIS, and we moved right out of the way. And I'm like, what?
Whatever.
I can accept Space Minotaurs, but putting spin on the TARDIS, no. It's not acceptable.
Just gotta put a new spin on things, and it all makes sense. No. Anyway, Soldeed, who is the leader of the...
Cult of the Nimon. That's what I'm naming it.
All right, the Cult of the Nimon decides to go into the little portal thing to the Nimon's labyrinth. And he mentions to his people that... His cult, that... Well, one of them questions, his second-in-command dude questions why they're even doing any of this and why the Nimon is helping them in their ambitions, which is to take over everything. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, the Nimon is... This is actually later, but it kind of makes sense to explain it here. The Nimon is simple-minded, technologically advanced, but simple-minded, so we just have to bring him sacrifices, and then he'll help us take over the galaxy.
Yeah, we should also mention that apparently Soldeed is the only scientist left on the entire planet, which is why he's the only one communicating with the Nimon, because he's the only one who can understand the technology, supposedly.
Yeah, so the Nimon, like the Minotaur, exists, or lives in some sort of labyrinth, which is protected by this barrier/force field type of thing, which you can just walk through. I mean, it's... yeah, so Soldeed goes in to try... and talk with the Nimon and say, hey, we know your sacrifices aren't here yet, but just wait a minute.
Or a few minutes. And Soldeed...
Go on.
No, Soldeed comes out and he's about to chew out his assistant, and it's just like, hey, we found the ship, it's back on course.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to explain what the Nimon looked like.
Yeah,
looks like a Minotaur, but...
It's a Space Minotaur. What?
Yeah. Its horns are what stand out the most, and obviously Horns of Nimon, so...
Yeah.
Its head is huge. Its head is just huge.
It's like, have you ever watched that video, actual cannibal Shia LaBeouf?
What? No.
Well, it's, okay...
That's not the Shia LaBeouf meme, right? Like, just do it.
No,
okay.
No, this is pre that. This is just a song about how Shia LaBeouf's a cannibal and he's chasing you down. I was just gonna reference, like, in the video, there's a guy who runs around with a giant, like, papier-mâché Shia LaBeouf head. I was gonna say it looks like that, but a Minotaur.
What?
You should go watch it. It's a good video. A+.
Okay. Yeah, but the Nimon are also kind of slow and not exactly too menacing, because you're like, oh, you're trying to stab me with your horns? Well, I'm just going to jump around and be too fast for you, but they actually have lasers, so...
Just embedded in their head. It's like some sort of evolutionary advantage they apparently picked up on their home planet.
Yeah, lasers would probably help you defeat all your competitors in the wild. But they actually don't use there's like a point later where they could have just killed Romana by shooting a laser, but they don't. Anyway.
Yeah, well, Romana's protected by plot armor.
Yeah, well, Romana actually like kind of stole the show in this serial, to be perfectly honest.
No, yeah, she did steal the show. So, Romana's been captured by the co-pilot. She's been trying to get the ship to turn around to go save the doctor, and the co-pilot's like, I'm just going to shoot you if you try that again. She's like, okay, I guess I won't.
But not before going off on him, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
The first of her show stealing.
Much like the first Romana did.
Yeah, but this is Lala Ward, who I'm warming up to a lot more than Mary Tam now, even though I said I disliked her before.
Well, wait, because Lala actually acts. So Romana talks with one of the tributes, and everyone's hyping him up as like this great warrior from their hometown.
He's a prince, or supposedly.
And he confides in Romana that he was literally just a homeless dude who claimed to be a prince, and everyone believed him.
And now they all think that he's going to go kill the Nimon.
Right.
Because the sacrificial rite is one that had been performed before. They knew where they were going and everything.
Right, and I think all the tributes were from a different planet that had been subjugated by Soldeed's planet. Or
No, I think they were all from the same place. Well, for sure Seth and Tika were.
Well, all the tributes were from another planet, for sure.
Well, they're from Aneth.
Yeah,
I thought they were all from Aneth.
No, I think I don't know. I don't know actually.
I'm actually sure they're all from Aneth because Soldeed or someone says, "Oh, the tributes from Aneth are here. We found the ship with the
But
tributes."
Isn't like Soldeed's race like not the people of Aneth? Like, wasn't that the thing that like they had subjugated the people of Aneth and were using them as tributes?
Aneth was a completely different planet.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like, wasn't like Soldeed had his race, I don't know what it was called, and they like subjugated the people of Aneth.
Yeah, but they're not on Aneth.
No, yeah. Okay.
They subjugated Aneth, and now they're using the Anethans.
So we're on the same page. It just took us a while to explain.
That's what you were saying?
Yeah.
But all the kids are from Aneth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great.
Perfect. So the ship lands on the planet, not Aneth, the planet with the Nimon.
We should probably find out what that's called. That would probably help.
Did it have a name?
Yes, it started with an S, but I don't remember what it was.
It's Soldeed. The planet's name is Skonan.
Yeah.
Skonos. It's the Skonan Empire on Skonos.
Yeah. Edward Skonan. No.
I was gonna make a Kronos reference. Star Trek, whatever.
Oh, I thought you meant from Time Monster.
That too, I guess. Or The Incredibles, if you want to be really obscure.
Who was named Kronos in The Incredibles?
Okay, Mr. Incredible went in the cave with Gazer Beam, and he had carved out Kronos on the wall, and it was the password to Syndrome's computer.
Great.
So the ship lands on Skonos, and everyone comes out of the ship. They're like, "What's up?" And Romana just takes control, and she's like, "All right, I want to know where the doctor is. I want to know what the heck you think you're doing with these tributes, and I want to know who you think you are, Soldeed."
Yeah, Romana being awesome again.
And then Soldeed's like, "You better back off before I shoot you." Then the co-pilot tries to explain that he fixed the ship by repurposing the crystals, and Soldeed's like, "Oh, so how did you do it?" And he's like, "I repurposed them."
And Soldeed's like, "Yeah, you never could have been able to do that, so yeah, you're lying, and we're just going to throw you into the labyrinth now, bye."
Yeah, they throw him to the Nimon. So he's like, "No," and he goes in, but they leave him with his gun for some reason.
It's probably like, haha, just take it, you're never going to be able to survive anyway. Like, have you seen Watchmen?
No. Remember you lent me the book the one time?
Oh yeah, I lent you the comic and you never read it.
By the time I was going to get around to reading it, you're like, "Hey, my dad wants to read it," so I gave it back.
Right. Well, okay. I was going to reference something there, but I think you'll read it eventually, so I'm not going to do that.
I will eventually. So the doctor finally makes it to Skonos too, but not before all the tributes get sent into the labyrinth as well, with Romana. Yeah. Soldeed's like, "Yeah, just throw Romana in there too, why not?" I think because he sees Romana as a threat, because Romana knows science, and he's supposed to be the only scientist, because that's how he keeps his power. Kind of like, what was her name?
What?
In Creature from the Pit, who holds all her power because she's the only one with all the metal on the planet.
Yeah, what's her face? We just watched that, too.
2 weeks ago. But yeah, so he throws Romana in. The doctor shows up, and he kind of wanders around. I think he offers a jelly baby to one of the guards when he gets out immediately. And he shows up to Soldeed. Soldeed's like, "Yeah, didn't see ya." And he's like, "Wait a minute, this is my gravimetric stabilizer. What do you think you're trying to pull here?"
But then through a series of complicated terms being thrown out, the Doctor finds out that Soldeed, despite all his technical know-how, actually doesn't know about the black hole.
Yeah, that's like right on their doorstep.
So, he deduces that Soldeed is actually not as bright as he appears, and this is like the first hint that the Nimon is actually using Soldeed, which is kind of obvious already. But anyway, this episode ends when the Nimon shows up and the co-pilot tries to bluff his way out of the situation by telling the Nimon that he personally came into the labyrinth to deliver the sacrifices. And the Nimon's like, yeah, no, you didn't. You came here to be executed by. And he lasers him to death.
Yeah, well, we actually missed the point where the Doctor ran away from Soldeed into the labyrinth.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's important, because that's how they resolve the cliffhanger. Because the Doctor shows up and is like, hey, Nimon, I'm over here. And they escape from the Nimon.
Yeah, they also see Romana and the kids before confronting the Nimon. They find the little stasis chamber where all the other sacrifices are being kept.
A la Tomb of the Cybermen. I don't know, the stasis chamber reminded me of the Tomb of the Cybermen set. When they go down into the tomb with all the Cybermen.
Kinda, yeah, I guess. But yeah, the Nimon is also using the crystals, of course, for energy, but we don't know for what yet.
Yeah, it wasn't that the people were the sacrifices, it was actually the crystals were the sacrifices. The people were just there to be killed and be eaten by the Nimons.
Yeah, the people were just food.
So, the Doctor has realized that he couldn't place what the labyrinth reminded him of when he was looking at it from space, but he finally figures out when he's actually in it, it's like, oh yeah, it reminds me of a circuit, which would explain why all the walls keep changing.
Yeah, the corridors shift, and that comes into play later when they get all lost and everything, but only the Doctor, Romana, Seth, and Tika get away. All the rest of the sacrifices are left behind.
Yeah, they get put in stasis, I think. Or they just never show up again.
One of them gets shot.
Well, okay. One of them is dead. So the Doctor tries to call for K9. So Soldeed's trying to get into the Doctor's TARDIS, and his men can't get in because it's already been established many times over that the TARDIS is indestructible. So they're trying to get in, and Soldeed's like, if only the blasted thing would just open. And he slams his fist on the door, and it opens because K9's coming out. And the assistant's like, hey, you did it, Soldeed. And then they all see K9, and he's like, out of my way.
Yeah, why was K9...
like, out of my way.
Why was K9 so evil in this serial? He seemed like some kind of evil mastermind who just destroyed everything in his path.
Well, they do disassemble him now, which...
They do that.
Arguably kills him, and then they bring him back to life. Yeah, they capture him. He shoots one of the guys, he stuns him, presumably. And Soldeed shoots K9 and stuns him, presumably.
Well, no, I mean...
Well, then they disassemble K9.
Yeah, they bring him to the operating table.
And Soldeed's like, I don't understand how he works. I don't understand.
He orders his men to go back into the TARDIS and see if there are any more K9s inside.
Except the TARDIS is closed.
Yeah. So that's the end of K9 for a little bit.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the Doctor and Romana are wandering through the labyrinth.
They get to the Nimon's control room.
Right.
And they try to figure out what exactly is going on here.
Yeah, they're like, what's going on?
They find the equipment set up for what appears to be a transmat system, but Romana mentions that there's no transmat pad, so they wonder what the heck is up there.
Maybe T-Mat licensed their technology.
To the Nimon, to the parasitic race.
Hey, T-Mat seems like a company that would do anything for the money.
Yeah, they seem like they pretty much have a monopoly on like everything. So, I mean, obviously, we mentioned this a few weeks ago, but obviously, it's not the T-Mat, the company, producing all this T-Mat.
I like
stuff.
to imagine it is.
I would assume.
I mean, I like to imagine that it is because it's funny. It's probably just them reusing the same technobabble. Anyway, you were saying something about the Nimons.
Yeah, that's when they find out that they're using the black hole as like a wormhole to bring their people to, what's it called?
To Skanas.
Yeah.
This is also when it's revealed that there's not just one Nimon. There's like millions.
Yeah. But we only see 3.
Probably because they...
At a time.
Suspicious. I wonder why.
I was actually kind of surprised they made 3 of those costumes.
Yeah. They probably... No, they couldn't have gotten away with just one, now that I was thinking. Just like how they make, like, only 3 Daleks. So some of the Nimons get transported into the labyrinth, and the Doctor and Amon are like, oh no. And they run around for a bit, they run away, because now they've learned that there's a whole other race of Nimons just chilling, waiting to be brought through. So
well, not a whole other race, just from wherever they're from, as far as we know for now.
So they're trying to figure out what to do. They're like,
they're like, I got nothing. I didn't know. Meanwhile...
Is this when Soldeed gets thrown in the labyrinth?
Yeah, Soldeed goes into the labyrinth.
To go talk to the Nimon. I think he wants the Nimon's help in understanding K9.
Yeah, I guess that's what it was. Makes sense.
So he's in the labyrinth too, and so the Doctor and Romana now have looped back around to the capsule, and they're investigating it, and the Doctor has Romana go and I guess scan it to find out where it's from, while the Doctor sends the capsule back. For whatever reason, Romana decides to get into the capsule.
And the Doctor accidentally sends her to wherever the Nimon are coming from, which turns out to be a planet named Krynoth.
Yeah. Not the home world of the Nimons either, we should add.
Yeah.
You find that out later, though.
Yeah.
So the Doctor's like, oh, shoot, better bring it back. So he goes back to this the
lever that he used to...
lever. He always pulls it really dramatically, except one time he just does it really quickly, and it's like, wait a minute.
But this is when Soldeed shows up, and he's like, what are you doing messing with Nimon technology, Doctor? And then he uses one of the laser spear things to blow up the control panel, and the episode ends with a zoom in on Tom Baker's face. It's like an oh shoot face, because Romana has already been sent to Krynoth.
He's like, I'm so sorry, Romana. But conveniently for the Doctor, in episode 4, Soldeed gets zapped by, what's his name?
Seth.
With the co-pilot's gun that they retrieved from the co-pilot's body from back when he died in episode 2.
Right.
So he's stunned. The Doctor makes sure that they haven't killed him, and he's like, oh, Seth, you meddling bugger, or something like that.
Well, no, Seth asks if he's dead, and he's like, no, he's just stunned.
So the Doctor gets to work fixing the controls again to get Romana back. And now we cut to Romana on this other planet, and she
Which looks suspiciously like the one she was just on.
Well, obviously they reused the sets.
Yeah.
Or... I guess you could explain it in universe by that the Nimons just construct the exact same design labyrinth on every planet they conquer.
Guess that's a pretty good excuse. But yeah, she's wandering around and there's tons of Nimon. She's like, oh shoot, it's an invasion force.
And she's about to get killed.
But then she meets Caesar.
Yeah.
I guess his name was Caesar, right?
Yeah, his name was Caesar.
He's the last surviving
member of that. Yeah. It's not Krynoid.
I knew one of us was going to say that, either on accident or on purpose, but... Yeah.
Maybe the Krynoids come from that planet.
Yeah, no.
I don't know. We don't have any evidence to the contrary, right?
So why not just believe it? Anyway, Caesar is the last member of his race because the Nimon took over his planet too and destroyed everything, and now they're even draining the life force of the planet itself, and they need to move on. Yeah,
he was kind of like the sole lead for that planet.
Yeah, he helped. He
even has the same staff.
He regrets helping the Nimon, wishes he never did it, and teams up with Romana to sort of right his wrongs, I guess.
Yeah, I think unlike Soldeed, though, I don't think it's stated, but I think it's implied that Caesar... Because Soldeed has pretty much stated that he's trying to get the Nimon technology because he wants to conquer the universe.
Yeah, no, but Caesar said, like, one of them came and offered peace and prosperity and technology, so that's why he accepted.
Yeah.
So he's not as bad of a person. Actually, I wouldn't even say he's bad at all.
He was just doing what he thought was right for his planet, and then he kind of just got
turned out
backstabbed.
horribly wrong.
He couldn't have known. And he helps save another planet, so he kind of redeems himself at the end of his life. But he reveals to Amana that he's modified the staff because the Nimons gave him the staff under the assumption that, the staff isn't powerful enough to hurt the Nimon, but Caesar was intelligent enough to figure out this Jasonite, when you put it with the staff.
Jethric. No.
I mean, it looks like they reused the Jethric prop, but
not really.
This Jasonite amplifies the staff, so it becomes more powerful. It becomes powerful enough to stun the Nimons, but not kill them.
Yeah.
Which he reveals to Amana.
Which they then proceed to do. They Rambo through the complex, gunning down Nimon.
Yeah, to the Rambo theme tune, it just kicks in all of a sudden.
And this is when the show gets sued. No.
Pretty sure Rambo existed by this point, so I think it's possible.
Yeah, I think it was the late 70s.
Yeah. No, but actually,
obviously
no.
that didn't happen. But what does happen is Caesar gets attacked and dies.
Right. Actually, before that, like almost immediately before that, the Doctor fixes the transport pod and he brings the pod back. And it's like, oh, Romana, and he opens it up and he's like, and he's greeted by these two Nimons. He's like, okay, and he just immediately closes it and locks it and sends it back.
So this is when Caesar sacrifices himself to help Romana proceed. She gets back in the pod and gets back to the Doctor.
Yeah, she somehow signals to the Doctor. She pushes a button or something, and the Doctor's like, may as well take my chances. Can't be worse than two Nimons, right?
3 Nimons. No.
1 Nimon, 2 Nimon, 3 Nimon, 4. So, the Dream Team is reunited.
The A-Team.
Well, they just need K9 now, and K9 has been repaired by Soldeed's assistant, and he's like, please remove me from the surface.
Right, 'cause he's on the table.
And the guy's like, first show me your power. So K9 zaps him, and he's like, whoa.
Don't know what he expected there.
K9 is like, that was only a warning shot.
Yeah, I told you K9 was evil in this serial.
Well, yeah, because then the guard puts him on the floor, and then he immediately proceeds to open the door, leave, and then lock the door behind him and lock the guard in. Jeez.
K9.
Yeah, why now? Maybe he's trying to get revenge for being disassembled.
Maybe he's actually still possessed by, what's his name? Why are we blanking on every...
It begins with a Z.
Yeah,
Zotan.
Yeah, Zotan.
Not to be confused with Votan.
No, it was Zodal.
Zodal. Okay,
Zodal.
there we go.
Why are we blanking on, like, every name we try and think of this episode?
Because it's like...
Because we're on season 17 and we've watched over 500 episodes.
Well, I was just going to say it's like 6 hours after we normally record.
I guess.
So, K9 goes into the labyrinth to look for the Doctor, and the Doctor is like, oh no, the Nimons are attacking us, Romana. And some of them get shot by Seth with the co-pilot's gun. Yeah. And then one more shows up and like, oh no. And then K9 zaps it and they're like, okay, thanks K9. He's like, you're welcome.
They actually, we erroneously said before that they just abandoned the kids, but they actually go back and rescue them.
Well, they abandoned them for a while.
I forgot about the rescue.
The lady, I can't remember her name now for some reason.
Tika.
Tika. Yeah, so Tika's been
told you we blank on every single name.
Well, I blank on all the names every weekend, so Tika's been put in stasis. And Seth's like, oh no! And the Doctor's like, don't worry, she's not dead, it's just stasis.
Yeah, so I guess this is sort of like the conclusion to Seth's character arc. You know, he actually has to kind of
become the hero.
Yeah, so... Kind of nice there. Not really that important, though.
We also left off Soldeed, who's been in the labyrinth. He escaped. Yeah, so they stunned him and he escaped.
I actually liked the scene where he gets up and escapes because it's actually really quick. And if you would have looked away from the screen for a second, you never would have noticed that he escaped. So I kind of liked that.
Well, Seth immediately turns around and is like, oh no.
I mean, if I hadn't noticed it, because it's so easily missable, I probably wouldn't have liked his escape. But I did. No, but Seth notices. And... They kill him.
No, Solid escapes, and then he at some point before Seth and Tika save the Doctor, Seth and Solid have this confrontation.
Yeah.
When 3 Nimon show up, Solid is all, oh no, and then Solid kind of goes crazy, I guess, because he's like, I thought there was only 1, but there's 3.
Yeah,
How many more are there?
Romana tells him to accept the fact that he's being invaded.
Yeah, Romana just slapping the sense into everyone.
Yes,
Just
Romana
laying down
was
the law.
awesome in this serial.
She's always awesome.
Yeah, but more
even
so in this
even in
serial.
Mary Tam's incarnation.
Yeah, but more so in this serial.
Yeah. Maybe it was the gloves. The gloves are coming on.
God.
Solid dies. He activates his self-destruct mechanism.
What? He activates a self-destruct mechanism?
Yeah, that was he pulls that switch, and then he gets shot by Seth.
Yeah, okay, yeah, he gets shot by Seth.
And then Romana's like, oh no, it's locked, and the whole system's gonna blow
Yeah.
up. The whole labyrinth's gonna blow up, so we
yeah,
gotta
I knew
leave.
that, but I thought you were saying he killed himself for some
No,
reason.
I
Yeah,
said
no.
Solid dies, and he activates the self-destruct, and then he dies. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I thought you were saying something else, but no, yeah, he gets shot by Seth.
So now they all need to escape, but luckily they have K9 who can just find the way out of the labyrinth for them.
Yeah.
We didn't
He needs to
mention that
recalculate the path as they go along.
when the
being chased
Doctor
by
came
Nimon.
into the labyrinth, he tried to mark his path using these giant green star stickers that I guess he just pulled out of his pocket. But it didn't work because the rooms were changing.
Yeah.
But yeah, they escape. They come to a wall, and the Doctor's like, "That's a wall, not an entrance." K9, and K9's like, "It's the entrance." So they just walk through the wall, and they're like, "Okay." Actually, we didn't mention the plot thread about the Nimons on the other planet. Krinoff.
Yeah, we did.
No, we didn't mention that they activated their own self-destruct
Oh, yeah.
sequence because they decided that because the Doctor was fiddling with the time corridor, they would just burn up Krinoff and use the power to send all the rest of the Nimons over to
Yeah.
Skanos. Except when the Doctor destroyed the time corridor and sealed it shut,
They
which we
kind of just
didn't.
blew up.
Yeah. So they basically wiped out their own race.
Well, they come back in an audio.
Yeah, and an Eighth Doctor audio. The Eighth Doctor audio is, like I've said before, literally the greatest hits of Doctor Who.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone was clamoring for the Nimon to come back.
What, you don't like Space Minotaurs?
No, I do, but I mean, come on, they're the Nimon. Anyway, yeah, the day is pretty much saved. Everyone dies, almost.
All the Skonans survive.
Yeah, except
Except
Soldeed.
Soldeed. He deserved to die.
The second in
I mean, that's
command
bad to say,
guy
but-
now is now first in command, and Romana's like, "You think he'll be a good leader?" And the Doctor's like, "No, he'll be the same as Soldeed." And they kind of just brush it off.
I guess they don't really want to get involved. I mean, they didn't want to get involved in the first place, and the only reason why they did was because the co-pilot decided to leave the Doctor behind.
So the co-pilot actually saved the day by being a complete and total jerkwad.
So Seth returns home a war hero, and we cut to the Doctor and Oman in the TARDIS, and the Doctor has removed the center column from the control panel.
Yep. First and last time that happens.
Yeah, not surprised. We also forgot to mention when he was trying to get the TARDIS to land on Skanos, because he had removed the dematerialization circuit earlier. He had to kind of jerry-rig the system together with the central column, and it totally fails at first, and the console actually looks like it blows up.
Yeah, that was funny. It had that little cartoon spring sound effect. I liked that. We also didn't mention the scene where the Doctor puts a first place ribbon on K9.
Oh yeah, when he's gonna die because of the asteroid, he's like, "You were the best dog a man could have asked for, K9." But it ends with the Doctor going, "You've still got a few millennia left in you, old girl," and then Romana kind of smiles like, "Oh, thank you, Doctor." Like really heartfelt. The Doctor's like, "Not you, the TARDIS." And she's like, "Oh." But then she kind of smiles and does a funny face, and then it ends.
Yep. That's how the season ends if you were watching this back in 80. Oh, yeah. No.
Back in 80. I mean, it's a decent place for the serial to end. It ends on a kind of upbeat note and would have been a good season.
Yeah, no, there are seasons that have ended on weirder notes than this one. So, yeah, I mean, like we've been saying every week, this season hasn't come crashing down yet, and there's only one serial left for it to do so. So I'm going to try not to get my hopes up, but all I'm going to say is it would be really great if Shia were good so that we can finally say that there's one season of Doctor Who that just didn't have any serial that was mediocre or
Worse.
Less than mediocre.
Well, Shia was written by Douglas Adams, so I have faith based on one, his previous serials, so City of Death mostly, and Pirate Planet, and two,
how the show has gotten
and because
better
of the
since
script editing that he's been doing this season.
Yeah, so hopefully our expectations there aren't dashed.
I mean, hopefully not. We can always say that if it's not good, we can always say that there was a season that was pretty good. Kashada didn't really count because it wasn't aired. But that's kind of a cop-out.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed this serial. I actually did expect it to come crashing down this week, and it didn't. So that's good on you, Shio.
Another interesting point of note in this serial is a lot of the characters' names are anagrams or just have the same letters as characters from the Greek myth of the Minotaur. Mm-hmm. So we have Seth, that's Theseus, Nimon, obviously Minotaur, and there are more too that I don't remember at this point in time.
I'm not really well versed in Greek mythology, so
that's actually
Is it Roman?
It's not Roman. It's, what are they called?
Is it pre-Greek?
Yeah, it's pre-Greek. It's like that island civilization like off the coast of Greece that I don't remember the name of right now.
I know what you're talking about. But
it starts with an M, but I don't remember what it's called.
The Macedonia?
No.
No, that's a country. Or that's an area of Greece.
That's north of Greece.
Yeah.
That's where Alexander was from.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
Yeah, there you go.
There's your Greek history.
You're probably screaming at us like, it's blankety blank, you guys are stupid. But whatever. We never claimed to be experts.
That's just the perfect phrase for this podcast.
We should change the name of the podcast to We Never Claim to Be Experts.
Yeah, if you're wondering what we're referencing, just go check out that episode of Triple Play that released this week. We watched the Spider-Man trilogy. We had a lot of fun with it, I think. It was a fun episode. You should go check it out. It's on the website, which we'll get to in a second. But before that, we got an email this week. It's rather lengthy, and I don't really particularly want to read the entire thing. But I think we'll just go ahead and read the relevant bit. So the email is basically from a fan. His name is David Embry. Hi there, David. It's going to be a while before you get to this episode because you mentioned that you just reached the Moonbase episode. But he basically explains, back in the Chase episode, I think we were a bit confused, mainly because neither of us are from England. When Ian and Barbara get back to their own time, spoiler, they ask for 2 threes, please, when they get on the bus. And I think back then we were like, what does that mean? So David wrote in last week to let us know what it means. And I think we'll just read that explanation so we don't have to read the whole email. But it's so he was asking for 2 bus tickets priced at 3 pence each. Oh boy, here we go. Until decimalization in 1971, there were 240 pennies to the pound, subdivided into 20 shillings, which is 12 pence to each shilling. So there are various smaller coins, example, halfpenny, penny, 3 pence, 6 pence, 2 shilling coins, a shilling, etc. 10 shillings in the pound were notes. A shilling is equal to a modern 5 pence, I think.
Yeah, 5p.
5p. When people used to pay for large items, it was pounds, shillings, pence. Example, 3 pounds, 12 shillings, and 3 pence. If someone paid for something costing 3 shilling and 6 pence, they would say 3 and 6, please. So there you go.
Yeah, when we actually had another sort of discussion about this in Talons of Wang Chiang, so...
Yeah, and I think we only briefly touched on it there, but I think you went and looked it up afterwards and posted it on the Facebook and Twitter.
Very, very confusing, and it's no wonder that they changed it.
Thank God. So, if you have thoughts, if you just want to let us know and say hi, so questions, comments, emails, love letters, angry rants, I don't know. Email us at thedoctor@decadavegetable.com. Be sure to check us out on YouTube at Trust Your Doctor. Check us out on iTunes at Trust Your Doctor. Leave a rating if you like the show. We really appreciate it. We like hearing from you. And check out Joel Play. You can find that on our website, decadavegetable.com. Links to everywhere for that are up there.
Right. Also check us out on Facebook, Trust Your Doctor, and like us on Facebook, and also check us out on Twitter at TYD Podcast, and follow us on Twitter. And next week we finish up this season with the unaired Shada, but until then, the end.